need to do that. You don't. It's just as long as your activities are something you care about, and then your major is something you care about. That's like what matters.
Hey guys, part 2 of this university application interview playlist. So welcome back, and I have interviewed 6 students who have got into prestigious Ivy League schools, and today it will be our Jasmin, who got into New York University as well as Berkeley.
All right, so hi everyone, I'm Jasmin. I applied for like 20 universities. I'm not gonna list all of them, but I'll just list the more important ones, I guess. So I applied to NYU, Berkeley, UCLA. I applied to a few specific art schools like RISD, Parsons, Pratt, and I applied to Canadian schools like McGill, UBC, U of T. And I also applied to schools in the UK, like UCL, University College London, King's College London, and University of Edinburgh. And those are kind of like the major ones that I personally put more effort into. But yeah.
Damn, that's a lot of universities. But congrats to you. And of course, we need to start with our basics, which is our stats. So do you mind sharing with us your SAT, your GPA, and APs?
Yeah, so I did not do the SATs. I went test optional. APs, my school did not offer them, so I just self-studied for one. I got a 5 on AP psychology, and then I took a bunch of dual credits, and my GPA was, well, I don't know my GPA in like the American terms, but my average, it was 98.6 in grade 12 and 11. So I think that was my biggest like pro in my application since I didn't do a lot of tests.
Dang, okay, well, that's the standard, of course. Now, why am I even surprised? And I just wanted to, maybe explain to the audience which university have you committed to and any reasons towards that.
So I'm committed to NYU, to the Gallatin School of Individualized Study, and the main reason, well, there are a few reasons. First, they gave me the best scholarship. And second, in terms of my major, I kind of applied for a lot of different things. Like I mentioned, I applied for art school specifically, and then I also applied for a lot of humanities-based programs and like then some writing programs. But Gallatin, the way it works is you basically build your own major. So you can, yeah, you basically just define your own major. You give it your own name, even like everything is very individualized. So I felt like I could mix all of the different things I'm interested in the best.
Okay, I don't know where to put this, but I just wanted to let you guys know that if you see me in like good lighting versus me in the Google Meets, which is aka bad lighting, we're going to alternate a little bit because I kind of lost footage in some part of the interview, but then it kept of some other parts. Like it's kind of confusing, so I'm essentially refilming some parts. So don't get confused, and yeah.
How much scholarship did you get for NYU?
I got $40,000 a year.
Oh my goodness, holy. Do you have to like submit like a whole separate application for that, or was it just based on your Common App and your supplementary essays they gave you the amount?
So okay, there is like this profile you have to fill out, but that you don't, it's not about anything personal. It's just literally just your family's financial statements. Just so because NYU has this thing where like they are actually NYU gets a rep for being expensive because it's very expensive, but they're also one of the best schools in terms of aid. So it's basically just like if you fall within certain ballparks for like your income and stuff, you automatically get aid. And even if you don't, then there's like scholarships, which is what I got. But yeah, so there's like a profile with just your financial statements, and then for merit-based scholarships, which is like for my scholarships, it was merit-based only. That's based on your Common App and also your application in general.
Okay, so we finally covered all of the basics, like the university that you're committed to, the stats, yada yada yada, all the random shenanigans. Let's get into the actual juicy meat, which is your extracurriculars.
Okay, so extracurriculars, I was in a lot of school clubs. I was student council vice president, DECA co-president, writers club president, and also senior curator on the art council. And then in terms of like personal stuff that I did a few pre-college programs. I did one with Cal Arts and I did one with the New York Times. And then I also like did some stuff on my own. Like I got a few of my stories published in magazines. I also like self-published a children's book. So those were the main ones that I talked about on my application.
Because it takes a lot of time, right, to publish like a book?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That was for me a really good portfolio piece for the art schools I was applying to. So I made it, and then afterwards I was just like, might as well just, self-publish a copy or something, and then yeah. So it ended up being a good extracurricular to talk about as well.
And of course, achievements and extracurriculars come hand in hand. So do you mind sharing with us your top 5 achievements?
I put DECA ICDC, of course,
Yes, for
for
sure.
some of my achievements. Yeah, and then another one was, well, for school awards, we didn't really find out about them until June, except for one that I already knew I was getting when I did my comment app. It was the Toronto Book Award. So I put that, and then I think I also put, I don't remember specifically what I put on the app, but like some of the ones that I'm just remembering right now are I put like the stories that I published because like I won some like contests, so that's how they got published. And then I think I also put like my half marathons on there as well, like some athletic things like getting MVP for the cross country team, stuff like that. So those are mostly my achievements.
Thank you, Jasmine. And oh my gosh, this is my favorite part of the entire application process, and that is your essays. So do you mind sharing with us your Common App essays, supplementary essays, anything that you want to share with us?
Okay, for my honestly, I think yeah, my essays are probably the main reason I got in, but yeah, so for my Common App essay, I wrote like I feel like my general topic, like if I went back in time, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cliche. But I just wrote about being like a first gen immigrant. But then I feel like the way I wrote it, it was very like nuanced to my personal experiences and stuff. Honestly, it was kind of to the point where like I didn't want people to proofread it, even though I knew they had to, just because it was like very deeply personal. But I guess the general layout was I talked about very like nuanced experiences that I had, and then why that like kind of motivated me to do the things I've done and why it kind of continues to motivate me. So that was kind of the general layout. But I feel like even though it was a very cliche theme, I tried to focus on very like nuanced personal experiences for mine. But yeah.
Break time. Just pause, please. Yes. Give me 5 seconds. If you like this video, like this interview, you truly believe that this interview kind of ish helped you a little bit, even just, a tiny bit throughout your entire university application process, please subscribe or just hit the thumbs up or just comment saying, hey, thanks, this helped a lot. It would really, really make my day and encourage me to do more interviews like this. Anyways, back to the video.
I see, I see. Yeah, because I'm sure that you probably watched a lot of, videos on YouTube. It's like, oh, topics that you should avoid writing for your Common App
Yeah.
essay or whatever. Yeah, and then I think, athlete or immigrant or I think those two are the two main ones that I could remember right now. Are
Yeah,
like,
they're like,
oh,
don't write about this. I was
yeah,
like,
don't
I
write
don't
about
know. I
it.
feel like honestly, like if I was to give advice, I would just be like, kind of ignore the videos. Honestly, just write about what like is personal to you. Because yeah, if you're gonna write like the most cliche essay about being an immigrant, then don't write that. But if it's something that is very like, if something really moving and personal happened to you that actually affected your actions later on, then that's what they want to hear.
Also, this is just another, food for thought question. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos that say, hey, you should have a, well thought theme throughout your entire application or like, a spike or whatever. So what are your thoughts on having a, common theme throughout your application?
There's definitely some, I don't think you need to have like one theme, but I think that there is definitely something to be said about like marketing yourself a certain way because that is honestly what it's about. Like I feel like for me it was all about like how I was this like very like self-made person. That was basically what my essay was about. Like the self-made person who used those experiences to just be like as creative and like create spaces for storytelling, stuff like that, right? So I feel like there is definitely you need to market yourself a certain way, but that's not to say that every single thing in your application needs to be aligned with this perfect image of you because then that's just, I feel like that also comes off a bit wrong. I would just say find what you're passionate about and just make that like the forefront.
That's true, that's true. It's just like I think it sounds so cliche to like follow your passions, but I think it makes sense. Like there's a reason why it's cliche because it's true. Like it's facts that like, I think it's because like we finished the application process. We're like done this whole shenanigans. Now we could say, yeah, follow your passions, whatever, guys. But I think I don't know, like 2 years ago, if I saw someone say, "Oh, follow your passions," I'm like, "What is this BS?" Like,
Thank you, pass me. I'm just gonna, take the baton here. And I just wanted to add on that I completely agree with both Jasmine and pass me that you should follow your passion. I know it sounds so cliche, and I don't know what's a better way to put it because it is really cliche. Like, no shit, like, follow your passion. But what does that really, really mean? And the thing is, I think the reason why a lot of people say follow your passion, it's not because it's, what everybody says. It's like, the right thing to do, right? But I think it essentially elevates your entire application process. When you write your essays, if you are not passionate about what you are doing, then you can't really write anything that is very enriched. Like, throughout your words, the admission officers could tell that if you truly are passionate about what you are doing. And also with your extracurriculars and stuff, like, for example, for me, like, if I fake my passion into coding and I've done, like 2 hours of coding, like, that's gonna be torture to me. But if I am doing something that I truly love, and for example, that is arts for me, 200 hours is like nothing. So first of all, don't put yourself into hell, and don't put your admission officers into hell, Follow your passion. It's a win-win situation for both sides, okay?
Here are some just final questions that I wanted to ask, and I'm pretty sure, people who are watching might be wondering as well. So, what do you think made you got in? I know it's very generic and there's probably a lot of components towards this question, but what do you think got you into NYU?
Honestly, I think that the major thing that got me into like the universities, all of the universities I applied for, not just NYU, but it was like kind of the my storytelling because like you can be great and you can have a lot of achievements, but if you don't know how to like weave those in like an essay or in a way that makes admissions officers like realize the weight of the stuff that you did, it doesn't really matter, you know? Like I mean, I don't want that to sound harsh, but it's like you have to be able to like kind of present yourself in a way that they actually care about. So I feel like I feel like it was very obvious through my essays, that I cared about what I was applying for and that I cared about the activities that I done. So I think that was like the biggest thing for me was being able to like market myself, to, like show my like present myself to them in a way that made them understand like kind of why I was applying and who I was.
So here are just some tips or insights, comments, whatever you like to call it, that both Jasmine and I come up with, and we sincerely hope that this can help you throughout your entire university application process.
I know there's like so many different like strategies and like outlines for essays and stuff online. I didn't really follow any of those for NYU especially. I had to write like I think 4 essays like just for the university specifically. I think no, actually maybe like 3. But yeah, I had to write 3 other essays in addition to my comment app. And honestly, what I personally do is I just treat it as like a creative writing exercise, except instead of it being fiction, it's like about my life. So I just try to focus on all the little details, all the little nuances, make it a little poetic, they want that. And also, I feel like just be like as authentically yourself. I mean, the best version of yourself, but just be as yourself as possible because I kind of heard this like more in terms of when I was applying to art schools, but it's like if you're very yourself in an essay or in a portfolio and you don't get in, then you probably would not have enjoyed the school if you got in because it means that the people there just think differently to you and that's fine. So I just feel like be as yourself. I mean, like look at like the best version of yourself, the best version of your accomplishments or whatever, and then just be as yourself as possible.
Applying to university is kind of like, I don't know, like Tinder or like matchmaking. Like, it's like you're swiping right to every like university that you want to apply to, but then like it's like the university's turn to swipe right or swipe left, right? So it might not be because you're like bad. It's just that like each university has different taste. And depending on who you
Exactly.
are as a person, right? Then you might get into specific universities.
Honestly, I feel like I'm the type of person who's like, I mean, I know I've done a lot of things wrong. Number one, fix my sleep schedule in grade 11. That was terrible. I had my sleep schedule fixed by grade 12, but my God, grade 10 and 11 sleep schedule was not it. Sleep, guys, it's like important for you. It's good for your brain. But yeah, anyway, so that's the
Hmm.
number one thing. But also, I feel like the mistakes that I made, I kind of needed to make those mistakes in order to get to where I was. And I would like okay, it's really easy now that I've gotten into a school to be like, "Oh, I would go back in time and tell myself to relax. I would tell myself to like not do so much." But like the thing is the reality is like if you're not working hard, then like if you're not going through a little bit, like not too much pain, obviously, don't burn yourself out, but if you're not going through it a little bit, if you're not working hard for it, then you might not actually get it. So I feel like I wouldn't tell myself too much. I would just tell myself to sleep more, touch some grass, and just like reassure myself it'll work out. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes, but it'll be fine. Like you'll get to where you need to go. Something to add to that. Well, actually, two things to add to that. First, in terms of trusting the process, I will say I think the process is a lot easier to trust if you're actually enjoying it, which is why I'm saying like with your essays, write about things you care about, your extracurriculars, go for the things you care about. Just like do the things that you like. You don't have to like be head over heels in love with every subject that you take, but just do things you care about. Makes it a lot easier to trust the process when you're enjoying it. And then another thing about the university and it just fitting you, honestly, one of the best things that somebody like one of my teachers at the New York Times like pre-college thing told me that it just stuck with me and I would just like when I was really stressed, I would just think about this. It's like university and school and education in general, it's not an achievement. Like I mean, obviously it's amazing to get into a top school, that's great, but that in itself is not an achievement. The school is a tool for you to be able to achieve things later on in your life. So, and honestly, at the end of the day, if you work hard, no matter what school you go into, college, university, whatever you go into, as long as you're working hard, you can use those tools and resources. You don't have to go to like the number one school in the world to get those resources and to use those resources, you know? So, yeah, education itself, getting into a top school, yeah, it's a great feeling, but that should not be your end goal. Your end goal should be like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you actually want to contribute? And then school is just like your tool to get there. Thank you, Kaylee, for having me. And everybody should subscribe to her channel because she is literally the kindest and sweetest and coolest person alive. I'm telling you, she is, yeah, subscribe and you won't regret it. But yeah, thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Well, this concludes our interview for today. If you think this interview truly helped you, please subscribe. It will really, really help me and encourage me. And yeah, I'll see you in the next interview. Bye!